In my personal case, at one point, not too long ago, I viewed myself as almost a lost cause. So to find a hospital that is able to offer me something that, you know, will potentially change my life I just feel incredibly lucky, really. Doing some fundraising for the transplant centre at Queen Elizabeth Hospital. So there's a dedicated ward for transplants. What I'm attempting to do is actually ride the length of the UK, so it's 1,000 kilometres, whilst I wait for my heart and liver.
And how long have you got left, Thomas?
I've got 0.9 of a kilometre. Yeah, there you go. You can see on there. That needs to hit 25, and that's the end of 1,000 kilometres. Yeah!
Woo!
Hello mate, just want to say we're all super proud of you, brother. Can't believe what you've achieved, mate. It's really impressive. Keep on trucking, son, and we'll see you soon. Say love you, Bazza.
Love you, Bazza.
Bye.
See you soon.
Hi Tom, just wanted to send you some love and support from both of us. It's incredible what you're doing, and it's really difficult what you're going through at the moment, but at the end there's a whole new life for you when it's all done.
We're proud of you.
I'm proud of you and love you.
We love you.
Hey Tom, just wanted to send you a quick message to say that we've all been thinking about you and we've all been keeping up with your progress, and just wanted to say that massive congratulations for meeting your target, and actually for even beating your target. You really are such an inspiration to us all, and we all absolutely adore you and love you, and we're all incredibly proud.
Well done, Tom, on your bike ride, son. Top man. The bravest soul I know. My hero. Good luck, son.
And I just want to say a massive congratulations. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you for taking on something whilst you're already in the midst of so much. And I think that just proves the kind of person that you are. And I'm so happy that you're mine. I love you so much, babe.
15 kilometres a day, sometimes 20, yeah. 100 kilometres a week, 1,000 kilometres. That's the length of the UK and Scotland, whilst in advanced heart failure with a drip in my arm. If anyone is, you know, of a mind to make a donation and help a really worthy cause, transform lives in the way that they're trying to transform mine, then please do follow the link and make a donation.
And how much have you raised?
To date we have raised £2,322, and with gift aid the hospital will receive £2,700 to go towards to the new transplant centre at Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham. I can't sing the praises of the various teams enough. Transplant team are incredibly skilled and compassionate. I think they really try to see the world, you know, from our perspectives, and actually throughout the hospital. I think the hospital as a whole tries quite hard to see things from our perspective. 97, 98, 99. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Tom, on your challenge.
Congrats, mate. Absolutely blinding effort. I can't believe you managed to cycle the whole length of the country. You've done a lot more exercise than me and Ellie have done the last year.
Well done, mate. Stay positive. We miss to love you loads.
Miss you, mate. Take it easy.
Daddy, where's it, Daddy?
Yeah. Can I see him?
Where is he? Your daddy. You missed him, haven't you? Oh. Daddy. You've been waiting to see him, haven't you?
Come on then. Come on then. Where we go?
Me and my wife met 7 years ago. I was incredibly fortunate to meet her, completely hit it off. Within a year of us being together, I'd proposed. Another year or so after that, we went off travelling together for a year. Come back to this country and bought our first home together. She has been incredibly supportive to me throughout. When I was ill at home, I wouldn't have survived without Megan. And when I go back home post-transplant, there's every chance I wouldn't survive without Megan either. So she's an incredibly caring woman. It's one of those things where, if I'm really honest, we've probably got the last 2 years of me being healthy, and then we've had a few years of me still being pretty healthy, and then the last few years, you know, our life has been really different to how it was at the start. We got married last year, which was just the proudest moment of my life, and it meant so much to me in the circumstance, you know, because at that point we'd been engaged for a long time, and obviously lots had happened. What I want from my transplant is having me and Megan, you know, having that extra time. However that looks, you know, because you have to be realistic, and you know, you don't have to be a genius to see it might not look exactly the way that it did before, but when you end up sat in a room and people talking about, you know, a very short mortality rate and the fact that you're not going to be around anymore at all, yeah, it's just absolutely huge for both of us.
Tom, I just want to say that I think you are an incredible human. That's why I married you. But honestly, your strength and your resilience and your determination over these past couple of years has made me the proudest wife that has ever walked this earth. And I'm just so grateful that we found each other, because I know that our love and holding on to each other through this will get us through. I miss you every day. But I know that we will get through this, and I know that we'll have you home.
How will this work? Does it mean that you've basically got to have 2 separate transplants, or is that a possibility one donor
Yeah,
could have a
so
heart and liver for you?
it will be one donor.
Okay.
Categorically, it will be one, and it's one operation.
Okay, wow.
So they, unbelievably, in my opinion, you're looking at sort of 12 to 15 hours in terms of operation time. I think from memory, they'll do the liver first. They'll put me on a heart bypass machine whilst they do the liver, and they'll then put the donor heart in and then close me back up. There's every chance that I'll need to be kept sleeping for quite a long time. I say quite, 4 days, potentially up to a week after the operation to allow my body to recover. And then hopefully I can start my new life.
Don't worry. You're fine, don't worry. Hi everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Bob, Tom's younger brother. It's an honour to be standing in front of you all today. Not only to celebrate Megan and Tom, but also because Tom has finally admitted that I am the best man.
My younger brother, who I mentioned, who's 2 years younger than me, Bob, had a heart transplant when he was 24. So I sort of remember the build up to that. So, speaking to him and my mum and being told that, Bob was in heart failure, and the doctors had started talking about, how long he might have left without a transplant, and the fact that he might need one. And then that very quickly escalated into him being admitted to a hospital and then happily having a heart transplant, which was now 9 years ago. I remember pre his transplant, noticing things like how swollen his legs were, the discoloration of his legs, his ability to sort of tolerate exercise and walking around and stuff went out the window, and he needed to sleep quite a lot. And I guess on a personal level that was quite scary as well, because I was obviously aware that that's something that might well happen to me at some stage. Happily, Robert recovered really well, and I'm very lucky in that he gives me, he's a great example of how effective transplants can be, and the life-changing effects they can have. I think it was, especially for Robert, it can be a really tough experience, because in order for your life to continue, someone else has really been through the mill, and someone else's family has really been through the mill, which I know Robert found really quite psychologically difficult. If you looked at him in a crowd, you would not pick him out as someone that has been through a life-changing medical event. You just wouldn't, I can guarantee it. So, yeah, and that's why, for me, it gives me something to really aim at. And I think, in a way, that was a big realisation point in my relationship with my brother.
Mm.
Because I mean, I've put in this. I've got, when I was, a child and a teenager, my dad was always pretty much my idol. As an adult, really, my two idols have been my brother and my brother's donor.
Mm.
They're the two. Do you know what I mean? The two. I think both sides of it are absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
You got one person in the donor who has just completed the most selfless and thoughtful act, and given a gift that not only changes Robert's life, it changes our whole family's life. It changed my life, meant that I still see my brother now. Changed my mother's life. Do you know what I mean? It is huge. And then the transplantee, however you dress it up, you've got to be really, really strong mentally and physically to get yourself through this process. There is no other way. This is not something that is for the weak hearted. It's just not something that I don't think you could do. My dad had a quite major cardiac incident when I was 12, so that was the first time really that heart disease really entered my life. And I guess the first thing I remember about it is Dad having thrombosis on his arm, where your arm swells up and it went a funny colour. And I remember my mum being very panicked and him going back to hospital. That was a couple of weeks after he'd had this big heart attack. Me and my brother went up for sort of hereditary screening at the Heart Hospital in London, and it turned out that both of us had cardiomyopathy. So that was when I first started having to take sort of cardiac medications. And that's when it really started to have an impact on my life. My dad, he was very fortunate in that after his heart attack, he was able to be medically retired. So he retired quite early, and he was able to enjoy, a good chunk of time, probably knocking on 20 years, where, whilst he wasn't brilliantly well, you wouldn't necessarily have guessed, this is a person that has got a fairly large underlying heart disease. As he became older, and funnily enough in line with when I really started suffering with my symptoms, my dad became really quite ill. He started having quite a lot of local hospitalisations, because he couldn't control the fluid on his body anymore. So his body was bloating out because it wasn't processing fluid, even with water tablets and the usual treatments that you're given in these situations. He actually came here for transplant assessment, but because his heart disease had been going on at quite a high level for such a long time, he wasn't going to be strong enough to actually undergo a transplant. So it wasn't something that was possible for him. Even with the situation as it had always been, you'd never imagine your dad not being there. The thing that I'll always remember about my dad is just how much he fundamentally wanted to help people. I think that's a really admirable human trait, and one that I would like to replicate. Again, it's something that I try and, I think, not just me, but all of us in here, all the patients, especially on the transplant side on the ward, all look out for each other and try and lift each other up, and that can be really important when you're in a situation like this. It's one of the things that always strikes me about it all is actually how it's affected my mum, because obviously, I know it's very different, but if you're tall, all you ever know is being tall. If you've got heart disease, all you ever know is having heart disease. I think for my mum, obviously she probably didn't think when she had children that she would be confronted with their mortality at such a young age, and by 24 be having one go through the transplant system, then have another one go through 10 years later. I think the hardest thing for my brother will be because his transplant has gone incredibly well, I think he will find it very difficult if mine doesn't go as well as his, which scares me, because I think we would be pretty lucky if it did. So yeah, you just gotta hope for the best in these situations, and I'm a great believer in you do what you can to control all the variables, so look after yourself and exercise and do as much as you can, and then you've just got to be mentally strong and sort of will yourself through it, and I'm hoping that's going to be enough. I live down in Devon in a seaside town called Exmouth, and I can't wait to just be sat out. We've got a little puppy, well, not a puppy anymore, we've got a little dog and a cat at home, just being able to sit with my wife and sit in the garden and listen to the birds chirping where I used to sit, and hear the kids in the next door's gardens all playing. I'm really looking forward to being able to do that. And it's funny enough, it is really, you know, I'd love to have like these huge ideas of, but really, if I'm honest, it is the simple things that I'm looking forward to, that I think will mean the most to me, just simply because I genuinely didn't think I was going to have them. You know, I at the start of October, I thought, this is it now. This is the top of the hill. I'm going to start careering down the hill. But, and I guess that's in terms of what I just said there. Me leaving the hospital is me at the bottom of the hill, starting to go back up it again.